अगर CS504 की वो लंबी चौड़ी थ्योरी और सॉफ्टवेयर के नक्शे तुम्हारे सर के ऊपर से गुजर रहे हैं, तो बिल्कुल टेंशन ना लो। हैंड आउट्स के ढेर देखकर बंदा वैसे ही घबरा जाता है, इसलिए मैंने फाइनल टर्म का सारा निचोड़ निकाल कर ये टॉपिक्स तैयार किए हैं। बस उन चंद चीज़ों को समझ लो और तुम्हारी तैयारी पकी। तो आओ यार, बगैर टाइम ज़ाय किए इसका काम तमाम करते हैं।
Question 1. Software does not. Answer is option a wear out. Unlike hardware components like engines or batteries, software is a logical product. It does not rust, break down, or physically degrade over time. It only becomes outdated or develops bugs. Question 2. Software crisis occurred in which decade? Answer is option B, 1960s. During the 1960s, computers became powerful, but writing software for them became very difficult. Projects were often over budget, late, and full of errors. This period is known as the software crisis. Question 3. The term software engineering was coined in. Answer is option a 1968 NATO conference. To solve the software crisis, experts met at a NATO conference in Germany. This is where they decided that software development should be treated as a formal engineering discipline. Question 4. Which of the following is not part of software? Answer is option D, hardware. Software consists of the programs you run, the data those programs use, and the documentation that explains how it works. Hardware is the physical machine, which is separate from software. Question 5. The hardest single part of building a software system is. Answer is option C, deciding what to build. Writing code is difficult, but the biggest challenge is understanding exactly what the user needs. If you build the wrong thing, no amount of good coding can fix it. Question 6. Requirement engineering is mainly concerned with. Answer is option, what to build. This stage is all about gathering the needs of the client. It defines the features and functions of the system before any design or coding starts. Question 7. Which model is used to show the flow of data in a system? Answer is option B, DFD. A data flow diagram, or DFD, shows how information enters the system, how it is processed, and where it is stored. It does not show the timing or logic, just the movement of data. Question 8. In DFD, a process is represented by. Answer is option C, oval. In the standard notation for data flow diagrams, an oval or a circle is used to represent a process that transforms incoming data into outgoing information. Question 9. High cohesion and low coupling leads to. Answer is option a more maintainable design. Cohesion is how focused a module is, and coupling is how much modules depend on each other. A good design keeps modules independent but internally strong, making it easier to fix one part without breaking others. Question 10. Which of the following is a creational design pattern? Answer is option B, singleton. Creational patterns deal with how objects are created. The singleton pattern ensures that only one instance of a particular class is ever created during the program's life. Question 11. Observer pattern is classified as. Answer is option C, behavioral. Behavioral patterns are about how objects communicate and interact. In the observer pattern, one object notifies several other objects whenever its state changes. Question 12. In sequence diagrams, synchronous messages are represented by. Answer is option C, full arrow. A sequence diagram shows how objects interact over time. A full, solid arrow indicates a synchronous message, meaning the sender waits for a response before moving on. Question 13. Which architectural style is also known as pipes and filters? Answer is option D, data flow. In this style, data flows through a series of processing elements called filters, and the path it takes between them is called a pipe. It is very common in operating systems like Unix. Question 14. The OSI model is an example of. Answer is option a reference architecture. A reference architecture provides a template or a standard that other systems can follow. The OSI model sets the standard for how different computer systems communicate over a network. Question 15. Which diagram shows the life cycle of an object? Answer is option C, state transition diagram. This diagram tracks the different states an object can be in and what events cause it to change from one state to another. For example, an order might move from pending to shipped. Question 16. In code methodology, person is classified as. Answer is option B, actor. In this specific way of modeling, a person or a group of people interacting with the system is defined as an actor or a participant who triggers actions. Question 17. Sale in Connie's convenience store is a answer is option, a transaction. A sale represents an event that happens at a specific point in time and involves an exchange of data. In software modeling, these events are usually classified as transactions. Question 18. Which pattern ensures only one instance of a class exists? Answer is option B, singleton. This is a repeat but very important concept. The singleton pattern restricts the instantiation of a class so that only one object can coordinate actions across the system. Question 19. Facade pattern provides. Answer is option O, a single interface to a subsystem. If you have a complex system with many parts, the facade pattern creates a simple front door that allows you to use the system without needing to understand all the complicated details inside. Question 20. Which of the following is a structural pattern? Answer is option C, facade. Structural patterns are about how classes and objects are composed to form larger structures. The facade pattern is a classic example of organizing a subsystem. Question 21. In the law of diminishing returns after a certain point, answer is option C, return on investment reduces. This law suggests that as you keep adding resources like more people to a project, the extra benefit you get starts to decrease until it eventually becomes zero or even negative. Question 22. The central role in software development is played by. Answer is option B, software requirements document. The SRS document acts as the foundation for the entire project. Designers, coders, and testers all use this document to make sure they are building exactly what was agreed upon. Question 23. Gold plating and requirements means. Answer is option A, adding unnecessary features. Sometimes developers add extra features that the customer did not ask for, thinking it will make them happy. However, this often wastes time and makes the system more complex than it needs to be. Question 24. Which of the following is a non-functional requirement? Answer is option B, system must be available 24/7. Functional requirements describe what the system does. Non-functional requirements describe how it performs, such as its speed, security, and availability. Question 25. Coupling is a measure of. Answer is option A, independence of a module. Coupling tells us how tightly connected one module is to another. In good software engineering, we want low coupling so that modules are independent and can be reused easily. Question 26. In code's methodology, sale in Connie's convenience store is identified as the answer is option C, transaction. A sale is an event that happens at a specific time and involves a set of data. In code's approach, these types of events or exchanges are called transactions. Question 27. Which of the following relationships is represented by a kind of hierarchy? Answer is option C, inheritance. Inheritance is used when one class is a specific type of another class. For example, a car is a kind of vehicle. This creates a hierarchy from general to specific. Question 28. The uses relationship between use cases indicates. Answer is option C, one use case invokes another. This relationship shows that one process needs the help of another process to complete its task. It is like a function call where one use case starts or triggers another. Question 29. Which diagram shows object interactions organized in time sequence? Answer is option D, sequence diagram. A sequence diagram is designed to show exactly how objects talk to each other and in what order that happens over a timeline. Question 30. In a sequence diagram, a dashed vertical line represents. Answer is option C, a lifeline. Each object in a sequence diagram has a lifeline. This dashed line shows the period during which the object exists in that particular interaction. Question 31. Which message type in a sequence diagram does not block the caller? Answer is option B, asynchronous. In an asynchronous message, the sender sends a signal and immediately continues its own work without waiting for a reply. It does not pause the flow. Question 32. The 4+1 architectural view model was proposed by. Answer is option C, Crutzen. Philippe Crutzen developed this model to describe a software system using 5 different perspectives to make sure all stakeholders understand the design. Question 33. Which architectural view describes the software's static organization in the development environment? Answer is option C, development view. The development view focuses on how the code is organized into modules, libraries, and subsystems within the programmer's workspace. Question 34. The OSI model is a classic example of. Answer is option C. Reference architecture. A reference architecture provides a proven template or set of standards. The OSI model serves as the standard for how networking software should be built. Question 35. Which architectural style is also known as pipes and filters? Answer is option C, data flow. In this style, data moves through a series of steps. Each step is a filter that changes the data, and the path between them is the pipe. Question 36. In a client-server architecture, a thin client typically. Answer is option C, delegates most processing to the server. A thin client is a simple interface, like a web browser that does very little work itself. It sends almost all the heavy processing tasks to a powerful central server. Question 37. The singleton pattern is classified as. Answer is option, a creational pattern. Creational patterns are about the best way to create objects. The singleton ensures that only one instance of a class is ever made. Question 38. The observer pattern is used to establish. Answer is option, a one-to-many dependency. The observer pattern is like a notification system. One object changes its state and automatically informs many other objects that are watching it. Question 39. Which pattern provides a unified interface to a set of interfaces in a subsystem? Answer is option C, facade. A facade acts like a single entry point. Instead of dealing with 10 different complex classes, you just talk to the facade and it handles the complexity for you. Question 40. According to good programming practices, function size should ideally not exceed. Answer is option B, 20 lines. Keeping functions small makes them much easier to read, test, and debug. If a function is longer than 20 lines, it usually means it is trying to do too many things. Question 41. Which naming convention uses terms like is visible or has license for Boolean methods? Answer is option C. Prefix convention. Adding a prefix like is or has makes it immediately clear to anyone reading the code that the function will return a true or false value. Question 42. In C++, header files should use which extension? Answer is option CH. While some use different extensions, the standard convention for header files that contain class declarations and function prototypes is the .h extension. Question 43. Which of the following should be avoided to write self-documenting code? Answer is option C, cryptic shortcuts. To make code easy to understand without extra comments, you should use clear names. Short, confusing abbreviations or shortcuts make the code harder to maintain. Question 44. The law of diminishing returns in software engineering suggests that after a certain point. Answer is option C, return on investment reduces. This means that simply adding more money or more people to a project will not keep making it faster forever. Eventually, the extra resources provide very little benefit. Question 45. In the context of requirements, gold plating refers to. Answer is option B, adding unnecessary features. Gold plating happens when developers add features that were not requested. This is risky because it adds cost and complexity without adding value the customer actually wanted. Question 46. Which of the following is a non-functional requirement? Answer is option C. The system shall respond within 2 seconds. While functional requirements say what the system does, this requirement specifies how well it performs. Response time is a classic non-functional requirement. Question 47. In DFD, illegal data flows include. Answer is option C, external agent directly to another external agent. In a data flow diagram, data must always go through a process. An external person cannot pass data to another person without the system processing it first. Question 48. Which of the following is true about coupling and cohesion? Answer is option B. Low coupling and high cohesion is desirable. We want modules to be independent of each other but very focused on their own specific tasks. This makes the software reliable and easy to change. Question 49. In object-oriented design, encapsulation is the process of. Answer is option A, hiding implementation details. Encapsulation keeps the inner workings of an object private. You only show what is necessary to the outside world, which protects the data from accidental changes. Question 50. The primary purpose of a prototype in requirement engineering is to. Answer is option B. Get early user feedback. A prototype is a simple version of the system used to show the user how it might work. This helps catch misunderstandings before the expensive coding begins. Question 51. In sequence diagrams, an activation box shows. Answer is option B, message passing duration. The thin vertical rectangle on a lifeline shows exactly when an object is active and performing a task during the interaction. Question 52. Which architectural style organizes the system into layers where each layer provides services to the layer above? Answer is option C, layered. In a layered architecture, components are stacked. Each level only knows about the level directly below it, which keeps the system organized and manageable. Question 53. In code's methodology, a person is classified as. Answer is option C, actor. An actor is anyone or anything that interacts with the system from the outside to achieve a goal. Question 54. The main advantage of the client-server architecture is. Answer is option. Effective use of networked systems. This architecture allows work to be shared across many computers, making it very efficient for systems where many people need to access shared data over a network. Question 55. In good coding practices, complex conditional expressions should be. Answer is option B. Broken into temporary Boolean variables. If an if statement has 5 different conditions, it is hard to read. Giving those conditions a clear name in a Boolean variable makes the logic much easier to follow. Question 56. Which of the following is not a component of software according to the lecture? Answer is option D, hardware. Software is made up of the actual programs, the data they process, and the documentation that explains how to use them. Hardware is the physical machine that runs the software, so it is a separate category. Question 57. The No Silver Bullet essay was written by. Answer is option A, Fred Brooks. This famous essay explains that there is no single invention or technique that will make software productivity improve as fast as hardware performance does. It highlights the natural complexity of software. Question 58. In requirement engineering, ambiguous requirements often result from. Answer is option B, use of natural language. When we use everyday language like English to write requirements, different people might interpret the same sentence in different ways. This creates confusion for developers and testers. Question 59. Which of these is a functional requirement? Answer is option B, user must be able to search by customer ID. Functional requirements describe specific tasks the system must perform. Searching for a customer is a clear action or feature, whereas speed and availability are non-functional qualities. Modeling and design. Question 60. In a DFD, a data store is represented by. Answer is option C. 2 parallel lines. In data flow diagrams, we use specific symbols. 2 parallel lines represent a place where data is kept for later use, such as a database table or a file. Question 61. The primary difference between DFD and flowchart is that DFD shows. Answer is option B, data flow. A flowchart focuses on the order of steps and logic, known as control flow. A DFD focuses on how data moves from one part of the system to another without worrying about the timing or sequence. Question 62. Which of the following indicates strong cohesion? Answer is option B. Module performs one well-defined task. Strong or high cohesion is good. It means a module is focused on doing just one thing. This makes the code much easier to understand and fix. Question 63. In object-oriented design, what does encapsulation achieve? Answer is option D, both binding data and functions together and hiding implementation details. Encapsulation wraps the data and the functions that use that data into a single unit called a class. It also keeps the internal details hidden from the rest of the program to prevent accidental errors. Question 64. The extends relationship between use cases represents. Answer is option A, generalization. In a use case diagram, the extends relation is used when one use case adds extra behavior to a base use case. This is a form of generalization where a general process is expanded with specific details. Question 65. Which UML diagram is used to show the structure of classes and their relationships? Answer is option B, class diagram. The class diagram is the most common diagram in object-oriented design. It shows the blueprints of the system, including the attributes, methods, and how different classes connect to each other. Question 66. In code methodology, container objects are used to. Answer is option A, hold other objects. A container object is a special type of object designed to organize and manage a collection of other objects, like a list of students in a classroom. Question 67. Which of the following is not a valid type of association multiplicity? Answer is option D +1. In UML, we use symbols like the asterisk for many, 1 dot dot asterisk for one or more, and 0 dot dot 1 for optional. +1 is not a recognized notation for showing how many objects are linked. Architecture and patterns. Question 68. The main purpose of architectural design is to. Answer is option B. Define high-level structure of the system. Architecture is the big picture. It focuses on how major components interact and what technologies will be used, rather than the specific logic inside a single function. Question 69. Which architectural style is most suitable for a system that needs to share large amounts of data among subsystems? Answer is option B, repository. In a repository architecture, there is a central data store that all other parts of the system access. This is perfect for systems like a database management system or a code editor where many tools use the same data. Question 70. In a three-tier architecture, the middle tier typically contains. Answer is option B, business logic. The first tier is the user interface. The third tier is the database, and the middle tier is where the actual calculations and rules of the application live. Question 71. The observer pattern is an example of. Answer is option C, behavioral pattern. Behavioral patterns manage how objects communicate. The observer pattern allows one object to send updates to many other objects automatically. Question 72. Which pattern would you use to ensure only one database connection exists in an application? Answer is option B, singleton. The singleton pattern is the perfect solution for managing shared resources like a database connection or a logger, ensuring that the system does not waste memory creating multiple copies. Coding practices and management. Question 73. According to good programming practices, what should be the maximum recommended length of a function? Answer is option B, 20 lines. Long functions are hard to read and test. Keeping them under 20 lines encourages developers to break complex problems into smaller, manageable pieces. Question 74. In Hungarian notation, what does the prefix str typically indicate? Answer is option A, string variable. Hungarian notation adds a small prefix to variable names to show their data type. Using str tells the programmer that the variable holds text. Question 75. Which of the following is a bad practice in coding? Answer is option C, using magic numbers in calculations. A magic number is a hard-coded value like 0.15 without any explanation. It is much better to create a variable named tax rate so the code is easier to understand and change later. Question 76. What does the law of diminishing returns suggest about software quality improvement? Answer is option. Beyond a point, additional investment yields less quality improvement. This means you cannot reach 100% perfection just by spending more money. After a certain point, the cost of finding the very last few bugs becomes much higher than the benefit they provide. Question 77. Which of the following is a risk of inadequate requirement process? Answer is option B, requirement creep. If requirements are not clear at the start, users will keep asking for new features during development. This causes the project to grow out of control, which is called requirement creep. Question 78. In a state transition diagram, circles typically represent. Answer is option A, states. The circles or rounded rectangles show the condition or state an object is in at a specific time, while the arrows show the events that move the object from one state to another. Question 79. Which of the following is a key advantage of object-oriented design over function-oriented design? Answer is option C, easier maintenance through encapsulation. By grouping data and functions together and hiding the details, object-oriented design makes it much safer to change one part of the system without affecting everything else. Question 80. In sequence diagrams, what does an arrow with a half arrowhead represent? Answer is option B, asynchronous message. A half arrowhead shows that the sender is not waiting for a reply. It sends the message and continues with its next task immediately. Question 81. The facade pattern is primarily used to. Answer is option. Provide a simplified interface to a complex subsystem. A facade acts like a helpful assistant. It takes a complicated set of classes and provides one simple set of commands for the user to interact with. Question 82. Which of the following is not a valid type of requirement? Answer is option D, coding requirement. While we have requirements for the business, the users, and the system functions, we do not usually have a coding requirement. Coding is part of the implementation, not the requirement gathering. Question 83. In the context of software engineering, stakeholders include. Answer is option C. Anyone affected by the system. Stakeholders are not just the developers or the people who pay for the software. They include the end users, managers, and even the customers of the people using the software. Question 84. What is the primary purpose of source and sink analysis? Answer is option, to verify completeness and consistency of requirements. This analysis tracks where information comes from and where it goes. If a piece of data is created but never used, or if a report needs data that was never collected, this analysis finds those gaps. Question 85. Which of the following is true about software architecture? Answer is option C. It represents the earliest design decisions about a system. Architecture happens at the very beginning. These decisions are the most difficult to change later, so they form the backbone of the entire software development process. That concludes our 85 questions on software engineering. We have covered everything from basic definitions to complex design patterns and professional ethics.